Nope. Nope.
So last week, my crusty Facebook Marketplace Honda Civic broke down. I was driving on the highway when all of a sudden, my car shuts down, the temperature gauge is going crazy, and the engine starts smoking, and those things are probably not a good sign. So I towed it to a shop to get diagnosed, and this is what they told me. Lots of modifications to the vehicle. My car is basically stock. The only thing that's modified is the intake and the exhaust, and that's it. Engine does not idle. Cooling system was empty upon arrival. Yeah, it's not looking good, guys. Suspect head gasket failure. Fail. So basically what this means is that I'm about to spend the rest of my bank account on this shitty Honda Civic. Yeah, I'm so excited. So there could be a lot of reasons why this car is overheating, and as much as I want to just tow this car to a shop and let them handle it, I can't do that. So I bought a bunch of tools and a bunch of replacement parts that could be potential culprits, and I'm just gonna try everything. If you're wondering what I bought, bam, 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 bam. Now the very first thing I bought was this Milwaukee impact wrench. It cost me over $700, and quite frankly, is the one I'm most excited for. And guess what? Nut busting torque. Literally, the torque is so strong that it's nut busting.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
But to break down my plan, I'm gonna be replacing the head gasket, the thermostat, the water pump, the timing belt, and I also bought myself the straight edge so I can check the block and the head for warpage, and if there is warpage, I'm basically cooked. Let's get started. Dang! So the first thing I'm doing is replacing the head gasket, so I jacked up the car so I can drain the coolant. But while taking off the splash shield, this happened. Oh! Yeah, the bolt just snapped right off. I'm just gonna pretend that didn't happen, and then I found the drain plug on my radiator and began draining my coolant. Oh my. Oh my! So yeah, take this as a sign to be careful when you take off your radiator cap because it will start gushing. And after draining the coolant, I took off the driver's side wheel so I can access the crank pulley bolt. Then I disconnected the battery and removed the spark plug wires, which smelled weird.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
That smells good, but at the same time, it smells chemically good. The spark plug wires, they smell super sweet. A sweet, almost syrup-like smell emanating from your car, especially near the spark plug wires, strongly suggests a coolant leak, potentially from a damaged head gasket. I think we found the culprit! So next I removed all the spark plugs and rotated the engine to top dead center, and that's when cylinder 1 is at its highest position during the compression stroke. You can tell if it's in the compression stroke by placing your hand over the spark plug hole until you feel air come out, and once I felt air, I put a long stick inside the cylinder and stopped once it reached its highest point. Okay, so now you can check if it's top dead center because there's a little notch here that is gonna line up with an arrow down there. And when you remove the distributor, your rotor should be pointed at cylinder 1. And then I removed the valve cover and the upper timing belt cover, and again I verified I was at top dead center by checking the camshaft gear. As you can tell, the up is pointed up. So now that everything is in time, we gotta get rid of the intake manifold, the exhaust manifold, and all the random stuff hooking up to the head. Let's do the exhaust manifold first. Then I went under the car to unbolt the mid pipe. Eventually, I got the headers off, so lastly, I disconnected the wires and the hoses. Alright guys, now it's finally time to remove the cylinder head. So we have 10 14mm bolts, and you have to remove them in a certain order. So the first one I'm starting with is the bottom right corner. And here are all 10 of the old head bolts, which I will be replacing because these are actually one-time use since they stretch when they're first torqued down. And now let's remove this bracket here held in by 3 bolts that holds the power steering pump. So now, with everything removed, the head is ready to come off, but we have one more step. It's time to loosen the crank pulley. Now this step, theoretically, is the hardest part, but because I have this 1,600 foot-pound of nut-busting torque impact wrench, it should come off fairly easily.
Are you sure about that?
So y'all see that bolt right there? That is the one we're removing. Oh, shit. Oh, no! No!
What the hell?
Flashback.
We saw me losing up everything.
Okay. But will TechJoyce let this one setback bring her down? She actually almost does, but her ego's too high, so instead of asking her mechanic father, who is a mechanic and works as a mechanic for a living, she decides to ask ChatGPT. So I'm back for revenge, but this time I got a few tricks up my sleeve, okay? I got myself a 17 mil weighted socket. This is what everyone was telling me to get because apparently for these crank pulley bolts, you need a weighted one to get that extra torque in there. Bam! And then I'm gonna bam, bam, bam. By the way, this thing cost me $70 on Amazon, so it better freaking work. Oh yeah, look at that condition of the bolts. Top tier pristine condition. Please drop a 1 in the comment section down below if you guys think I should reuse and recycle this bolt. But now with that taken care of, I went ahead and removed the timing belt, the intake, the throttle cable, the injector wires, and finally the 2 bolts holding the intake manifold in place. And now it's time for me to take the head off. If you guys are ready, comment down below. I love head. Now this thing is way heavier than it looks. I literally couldn't get it to lift off a single inch. You know what? This thing has to be at least like 200 pounds. There's no way I can't lift it. So I had to ask my mom to help me lift it because I am not asking my father. Yes, I'm still salty. Guys, we did it. Look at that. So the first thing I did was inspect the head gasket and the block to see if there are any problems. Like if I just look at it, it doesn't look visibly blown. Like there's no cracks or anything that's like obvious. But while the block is completely exposed, I decided to replace the thermostat because it'll be easier now. So I got myself a fail-safe thermostat. It's a little bit expensive, but it fails when it's open instead of closed. So let's just put this gasket on real quick. And here I'm removing the old thermostat. Make sure to have a bucket underneath because a little bit of coolant will come out. Here's a little side-by-side comparison. And now remove this little connector here. Here's the old thermostat housing and here's the new one. So then I installed the new thermostat and now it's time to check the block for any warpage. Typically when your head gasket blows, the head gets warped and so does the block. Now I'm just praying that it's only the head that got warped because I am not trying to spend 50 billion hours taking out the engine block. So I got myself the straight edge, which is basically a very precisely machined piece of metal that's perfectly flat. And then I got a bunch of feeler gauges so I can check if the block is completely flat or not. So the internet tells me if the warpage on the block is more than 0.004 inches, then it's no good. No, 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 no. Oh yeah, that's perfect. You see guys, I think the block is no problemo, but the cylinder head maybe have problemo. Let's go see. Alright, I think what I'm gonna do now is just remove the intake from the head. Oh, crunchy. Nope, 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 nope. Oh! Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh yeah, no, this is sliding through like butter. Fine, 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 fine. Oh, 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 oh. So yeah, clearly the head was absolutely cooked. And at this point, I had to decide whether to do a TechJoyce special or to actually take it to a machine shop. So you know what? Let's flip a coin. Heads for TechJoyce special, tails for professional machine shop. Oop, looks like we're taking it to a machine shop.
Hold up.
And bam, on top of the resurfacing, I also got everything clean. Just to compare, this is the valve train before, and here it is after. So we're back from the shop, and as you guys can tell, the new cylinder head is now smoother than a baby's butt. I also got them to clean my valve cover because it was absolutely filthy, and they accidentally cracked one of the seals in the wash. I don't really know if you guys can tell, but it's no problem because I got myself a brand new kit of new seals. That's right. And so now we're gonna go ahead and reassemble the cylinder head. I got myself this purple engine assembly lube. I've been binge watching people rebuild engines, and I keep seeing this, and it looks so satisfying to use with your little finger, and you like lube everything up, tap shit. So y'all are better watch me do that. Let's go. How many likes for me to drink this? If you guys get me to 20 million likes, I'll take a little sip of this. So the first thing I'm gonna do is reinstall this plastic cover. So the next step is to install the camshaft, and I'm gonna be lubing it up real quick. Oh, this is stickier than I thought. So now let's just plop this down, and then I'm gonna lube up each of these. And now that the camshaft is all lubed up and nice, let's install the cam gear. It only fits one way. As you can tell, there's a little notch here. And now let's screw in the cam gear bolt. I'm gonna be torquing everything down to spec at the very end. And finally, it was time for the rocker arm assembly. And this part was so annoying because everything was so loose, so it kept falling apart. Again, I'm just lubing up the places where there's gonna be metal to metal contact. And after applying the lube, I tried lining it up.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
But eventually I got it on, so then I cleaned all the bolts and cleared all the threads with compressed air. And now, with the camshaft and rocker assembly installed, let's torque everything down to spec. So the 12mm bolts get torqued down to 14 foot-pounds and the 10mm bolts get torqued down to 9 foot-pounds. So first, I'm just gonna hand tighten it. And now with everything hand tight, let's use our ratchet. So now with everything hand tightened, let's torque it down to spec. So now with everything torqued down to spec, let's torque the camshaft gear into spec. So next, I'm gonna reinstall these temperature sensors which go on the side of the cylinder head. And now I'm gonna install new gaskets onto my VTEC solenoid. I got these off of Amazon for really cheap, so I hope they work. Should be fine. We got one gasket in here, so let's take this out. Yucky! And in with the new. First gasket is installed. Gee. And next, let's replace this little gasket here with this brand new one. Hey, if you're feeling super satisfied right now, drop a 2 in the comment section down below. So the last gasket is the big boy, the very big boy. Here it is. And here's the brand new one. And now let's screw it back on to the cylinder head. And so now I'm gonna reinstall the intake manifold. I already scraped off all the old gasket material and I bought this new intake manifold gasket. So let's go attach it. Can you guys believe this flimsy piece of, I don't even know what material it is. It feels like recycled paper. It costs $17. 17? 17? But finally, I installed the intake manifold, then torqued it down to spec and got to work on the block. First, I cleaned the surface with brake cleaner, then I scraped off the old gasket material, then flushed the coolant, then used compressed air to get rid of any debris, and finally, I was done. So now I'm ready to install my cylinder head, but before I do that, I'm gonna replace the timing belt and the water pump. Surprisingly, replacing the water pump and timing belt is even worse than a head gasket job. The space is so cramped and you gotta take off all of the other belts just to access the timing belt. The Honda crank pulley is a bitch to get off, and online tutorials are hard to follow because everything is just so cramped. But here's the old water pump and tensioner, and here's the new water pump and tensioner. I like to call this job the back breaking special because you're basically hunched over for hours on end. So here's me finishing up the job. I'm not gonna bore you guys with details, but isn't it so nice replacing parts on your car? Like, not only does it look clean, it also gives you so much peace of mind. Speaking of peace of mind, I decided to go with ARP head studs. These might be a little bit overkill, but I don't care. Guess how much this cost me, okay? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of these cost $160.
Bombakat!
I'm not kidding. That's a highway robbery, man. My bank account. So it comes with lube, so I have to lube up these threads before I put it into the engine block. And now I can just hand tighten each of these into the block. And finally, I installed the brand new MLS head gasket and put the resurfaced cylinder head back onto the engine block. So now it's time to torque everything down to spec. So right here on the instructions, it says 15 foot-pounds, 30 foot-pounds, then 60 foot-pounds. Final step, 60 foot-pounds. Yay, we're done! And now it's time for the final stretch. I finished installing the timing belt, adjusted the valve lash, installed new spark plug tube seals and a valve cover gasket, reassembled the engine bay, installed new spark plugs, filled the engine up with fresh oil, and finally we are 99% of the way done. All that's left to do is to install the brand new headers and then do a coolant flush, and then we are good to go. Now I know I'm gonna get a lot of mixed reactions to the fact that I'm switching out the headers, but your girl is sponsored. Also, it's not really a Honda if you don't get the fart can experience, so... Introducing my brand new Jackspania Headers! Big shout out to Jackspania for sending me this. If you guys want to get this yourself, I'll be linking it in the description below. But isn't it so cute? It's like my little baby. Enough talking, let's go install this bad boy. And here it is, fully bolted up. I mean, just look at this sexy ass, big booty ass header. But then I got so excited that I accidentally dropped my camera. That's $2,000 down the drain, by the way. So y'all, please like this video and subscribe so I can buy another one. Please, thank you. All right, guys, it is now time to start the car. Here are the keys, fresh from the Canadian factory shop. Come here. Are you guys ready? In 3, 2, 1.
Nope.
We get out? I'll try. Yeah!
I think I know the problem.
Ain't got no gas.
Ain't got no gas.
This is a little bit embarrassing, but I just forgot to connect one of the vacuum lines, so yeah. It's idling now! Let's go!
It's a success.
So after weeks of work, the final thing to do was to take it for a test drive. So the engine runs, but now it's time for the ultimate test. A test drive. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of the sound. honestly. Well, guys, it's been like 5 minutes and the car is still perfectly fine. Alright guys, so I've driven for like 20 minutes now and everything looks good, healthy, amazing, spectacular. And just like that, the crusty Honda Civic lives another day. Before this video ends, I just want to say thanks for all the support on my videos. If you guys have any content ideas for me, feel free to comment them down below. I also make gaming videos if you guys didn't know. So sub to TechJoyce Gaming. Also, join my Discord. That's it. Bye-bye.
TechJoyce is awesome.
Hello.